10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. Whew. Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Welcome to Idiot Blog 425. Today on the blog we're featuring Bart, found at Guitar Bart, winner of last month's contest, which, by the way, that contest idea came from this head over here. Not that we probably all hadn't thought of it before, but my suggestion was have a contest, have the winner of that contest, their track be a musical track, an instrumental contest, and whoever wins that gets to be the featured track in the following month's contest. They finally did it. Pretty excited by that. I may not work for BandLab. I may not be in their golden graces as of lately. I haven't won any contests or anything like that, but you know what? It's nice to see a variety of people winning. And Guitar Bart's certainly deserving. Half a year ago, he had 300 followers, and he was amazed by that. He's at 3,000 followers. Imagine what's going to happen after he's won this contest. I imagine he'll get a good 500 to 1,000 more followers just this month. I think I've seen him in other contests. I don't know if he's won other contests. I don't keep up track of everybody who wins. But definitely a strong musician. Only 26 years old. Writing solid tunes. It's a well-produced sound. Definitely very accessible. I thought about doing something kind of down the BandLab alley myself, but nah, I decided not to. I decided to just keep it real with my heavy metal and my rap beat style, my space rap beats. What's up, Ron Swansong from the Wild Wild East? Welcome to the show. Nice to have you here. Today we're featuring Guitar Bart. And I got a shirt with Bart Simpson on it, because why not? Seems appropriate. Heck, I've been wearing it all day, long before I knew that Bart won the contest, so hey. Over in Singapore, it's February. Not where I'm at. It's still January. But over in Singapore, it is February. Early in the day, 15 hours ahead of us. So I guess it's not early in the day. It's past noon. Over there in Singapore land, where those Singaporeans hang out and make the awesome BandLab institution awesomer and awesomer each day. I'm heading into the control room for the YouTube live video. That's the end of Rock Off March, the Fork This Forward contest winner in G minor, it looks like. He put G small m, I'm guessing that's G minor. If you don't know, that's basically what that means. That is what that means. Here we go, this is March. Fork This Forward, another one. Nice, he did a few of them, huh? Pretty cool. It's interesting. I'm back to getting errors on my stream. Guess there's some stuff I gotta touch up, some settings. If you're seeing them, let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and keep going here. There we go. Enable the chat, I say now. I say to thee. Okay. My take on a hip-hop track blended with juicy guitars. My track, April, was much enjoyed here, so I wanted to try a similar darker vibe in G minor for Fork This Forward. And this was not the one that won the contest, but it's cool. It's a cool effort. I like it. Yep, chat is working. Once I say, enable the chat. But if I don't say anything, it just stays not working. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. How is the chat? How is the blog coming through? Is it coming through clearly? Are you hearing me? Or is the video stuttering at all? If it's stuttering, I'll have to fix it on the next run. You know Bart. Yeah, I think it's getting glitchy. I don't know why. I don't know why. Try doing some changes here. See if that helps at all. It may not. There we go, that was March. Let's track Where It Begins. BandLab version. Hope 2021. Today on the blog, we're going to talk about some practical recording techniques. We're going to talk about simple things in regards to recording. Just some simple terms. We'll see how many of these we can get through. Sound signals and studio acoustics. To produce sound, recordable sound, most musical instruments vibrate against air molecules, which pick up the vibrations and place it along and perpetuate sound waves. Those sound waves are the motion of electrons through the air from one molecule to the next. To illustrate them, we draw them in a shape like this. Sound waves. In the moment when it goes up like this, it's a very fast change in amplitude over a very short distance as it moves through the air like this. As it goes over the curves, it's a very small change in amplitude. See, only this small amount over a longer distance. So, we get an image that we can think about that goes with it that looks something like this. You see those lines that are close together, those dotted lines, and the dotted lines that are further apart? Those are the sound waves, multiple ones. Each line of dot across this way is another sound wave, and it separates and gets tighter together. The area on that upstroke of the waveform and the downstroke of the waveform is called compressed waveform. And it contains compression. And the spot where it's open on the top is called rarefaction. It's how sound moves through the air. The sound waves travel outward from the sound source at a speed of 1,130 feet per second. The speed of sound. At some receiving points, such as an ear or a microphone, the air pressure varies up and down, and the disturbances pass by those membranes, either the microphone membrane or your membrane in your ear, and you interpret them.
I wished for this to be over.
The high point
I'm stuck.
and the shape is called the peak,
Me, I'm still so
and the low point is called a trough. You know, like a trough.
for this to be over.
Sorry.
See you
And that center area is normal pressure,
just like
if that makes sense.
story in my head.
If you take a waveform like this and go back up, that is one wavelength. Up, back to the middle, down, and back up again is a wavelength. Amplitude is the height between those two peaks. Frequency determines the note and or the harmonic of the note. The higher the frequency, the higher the pitch of the note. The lower the frequency, the lower the pitch.
Still stuck inside.
Children and most humans can hear between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Most adults can only hear up to 15 kilohertz, but many of them can hear much higher. A stringed bass has a sound between 40 hertz and 9 kilohertz. And something like a violin has a frequency between 200 hertz to 15 kilohertz, up in those top ranges. Phase, or phase shift, is at any point in the wave and the degree of progression in the cycle. The beginning, the peak, the trough, or anywhere in between is a phase of the waveform. A phase shift would be when certain reflections on one element of the waveform bounces back, and then now maybe you're hearing one speaker real close and one speaker real far away playing the same sound. Electrically they get to those sources at the same time, and they shoot the waveform out, but at the speed of sound they get to your ear at different times, and the waveforms can kind of be out of sync. See this picture here. Let me make sure you guys can see it. See this picture here. See that? Where the waveform, the dotted line, is out of sync. That creates a kind of chorus-y, flangey effect. If you have phase shift between microphones, you will not have as tight and right of a sound. The phenomena of the phase shift is called phase cancellation. Harmonics are a type of waveform that double, quadruple, or something along those lines the waveform that you're hearing. All natural tones in the world, all natural stringed instruments, drums, have massive harmonic properties. Even in singular notes that are not played with a harmony to them, there is harmonics happening. So you play an A note on the piano, dong. You get the A note, and it's a big, giant waveform. Then you get a half amplitude, double the speed, harmonic, and a half amplitude of that, quadruple the speed, harmonic. Waveforms going much faster. Now they are not on a level where they overtake the instrument's sound. Each instrument has different types of harmonic values, and that is what makes them different. everything from a baby piano, a baby grand piano, to a grand piano, all the way over to a bass guitar. All these are stringed brass instruments. All these instruments, excuse me and my hiccups, all have very different harmonic values, right? If you look here, we'll see the main waveform, a harmonic, and another harmonic, and then you have right here the resulting waveform. You see how it's kind of not as smooth a shape? That's because parts of it are carried and distorted by the other harmonic waveforms of lower pressure or lower volume. Envelope is another characteristic that helps identify a sound. Envelopes of a sound have 4 characteristics: the attack in the beginning of the sound, the decay, how fast it falls off, and the sustain, how long it stays at a level of sound between the decay and attack. A guitar string could have huge sustain with the right kind of feedback, but in an acoustic form, not a lot of sustain, where when you pull a bow across a violin, you can create long lengths of sustain, and the attack is as you hit the bow in, and the decay is as you let go, the resonance from the instrument as it decays away. Percussive sounds like a drum kit are so short, they really only have a rapid attack and decay. Guitar plucks and cymbal crashes have quick attacks and slow releases. They hit hard, but they fade out slowly. You can shorten a string's decay by dampening it, and you can increase it by having a sort of feedback loop, whether that's a sustainer or an amplifier that feeds back the sound you're playing. Feedback alone is not the same as sustain. Frequency response. Suppose you have an audio device, a mixer, an effects unit, a recording unit, a speaker, anything that's replicating audio, whether recording it, taking it in, or putting it back out, or even something like this box here, taking it in, has a characteristic in which you take a single tone and you put it through, and you map the tone as you turn the tone up, up, up. You map the amplitude of which that these massive different frequencies. So you go 1 hertz all the way up through 20,000 hertz. Every hertz you make a measurement. You can create a map of the response, and that would look something like this, starting at 20 hertz over here, going all the way across here to the 20,000 hertz. And you see there's a little bump here. That bump indicates that sounds in that region will be louder than sounds over here, because that's the frequency response of that unit, instrument, microphone, speaker, or whatever it is you're talking about. Now, frequency responses can compound over time. If you have a microphone on a speaker with a recording device, and all 3 of them have a hump in the same spot, and then you play a noise in that spot, it's going to appear much louder than it would if it was recorded, if it was a note recorded in that flat spot of the frequency response of those 3 devices. And vice versa goes to the bass tone. Your speakers may have a cut down there in that low tone, and it may be harder for you to get the low tones out of your speakers because of the frequency response of them. The more flat the frequency response is, the more expensive the equipment. Noise. Noise is another characteristic of audio signals. Noise Every component in audio creates noise. The key is that if each one produces less noise than another one of a similar type, like let's say you had a quite noisy guitar pedal, a quite noisy guitar amp, and you would end up having a lot of noise in your signal, especially if you use multiple noisy pedals. Now, if you had no pedals, a very quiet, not so noisy guitar, and you had another amp that you could use that was less noisy, you could probably get a tighter, cleaner sound out of that amp, even if it was not your favorite to play in the room. So that's important. And the more expensive the equipment, the less noise they produce in general. You can make noise less audible by keeping the signal level in a device relatively high. The signal is the amount of instrument going in versus the amount of amplification of that noise. Turning up the volume of the signal turns up the volume of the noise, so you can hear noise along with the signal. But if you turn the signal going in up, you don't have to turn up the volume of the entire unit as much. The noise remains in the background. That is another reason why you would have a microphone that might not pick up the noise as much, and a mixer, and then this, because you might get, based on the frequency responses of those units and the impedance matching, less noise in the final recording. Distortion. If you turn the signal coming into a device up too much, let's say this is the amount you can put in, and so your signal's right here, you're not going to get any distortion. But if you start putting in this much signal, it's going to be maximizing at the amount that this can accept, and those ends will get cut off and flattened, so it'll actually go like this, then down, flat, then up, and that will be distortion. You get it square shaped, and you get a lot of distortion, almost fuzzy sounds. If you have a distortion unit, it will manipulate your distortion to get more of a fizzle, not so much of a fuzz. All different types of distortion can be desired or undesired, depending on what you're aiming for. You may want distortion on the snare, you may not. You might want it just for a certain part in the song, you might not want it on any of the song. Optimal signal level. You want the signal level high enough to cover up the noise, but you want to avoid distortion. High-end musical equipment optimize this inherently, but you don't always have the highest level of equipment, so sometimes you've got to be the determining factor, and you've got to listen and critique your equipment to get less noise to your signal. Signal to noise ratio. At the top is the distortion level, the point in which the signal distorts and energy sounds grungy. In between is a range in which the signal sounds clean. The idea is to maintain a signal around a 0 point at average, where there is no distortion. Signal to noise ratio is the level difference between the decibel of the signal and the noise floor. So if you take the signal going in and you put a decimeter on it, and you got 70 decibels going in to every 1 decibel, that's a great, excellent sound. 60 decibels, that's good, but only 50 decibels per every decibel, that's only fair in sound. Signal to noise ratio you're aiming for, in my opinion, is around 100 to 105 when it comes to professional recording, but at least 90. Sorry if I'm losing anybody, but for some people this is going to be way useful information. Do I play chess? Yes, I do play chess. Thank you for asking, Ron. Yes, and I also listen to many popular physics writers. I did burp before I did my 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown, just in case you were wondering. So, headroom. What's headroom? Wouldn't you think that would be the same thing as distortion and noise or something? Well, sort of. The level difference between the signal level and the level where you begin to distort is called headroom. I don't necessarily leave headroom in my final mix downs. I try to maximize them so there's almost no headroom left. I do mix them down in a way where if you were to turn them down, it would appear that they have headroom again. And they're not distorting, but they're at that very edge of the headroom game. Headroom would be, if you look at a waveform, let's say if you're in the mix editor, if you have no headroom, it may appear like a bunch of lines going into almost a square shape with just some small dipping going down. You've lost your headroom. And if you see the waveform is very small, and this is your block right here, and the waveform is very small, you have maybe too much headroom, and you're gonna turn that up, you're gonna introduce more of the noise. So you want to try to find a good medium with that. So what you might do is you might set your mixer controls so that the signal has some headroom, but is also well above the noise floor. Your noise floor, if you're recording at this low level, might be very small and you barely hear it, but when you go to amplify that signal up to match other instruments like a drum kit, you'll be amplifying the noise of the noise levels as well. But if you have it here and you don't have to turn it up, you have it going almost as the whole width, and you don't have to turn it up as much, then you'll find that you won't be introducing noise into the sound of the recording. Even if it's very hard to hear while everything's playing, it's still there, and it's kind of like an itchy thing in your brain and in your ears, right? So if you keep the headroom minimal, you have less noise. Even in a noisy recording, this is important. So you might set your faders to 0, master fader to 0, and the bass player to 0. Have the bass player play the loudest point on the input, and then you keep upping it. You hit that spot where it starts to maximize out. Dial it back about 10. Let's say you went up 5 notches. Dial it back about a half a notch, 10%. If he plays this louder again and he still gets a couple pops, dial it another 5-10% back until he does not create any of those red clipping signals when playing at the loud volumes. Now he's going to go play at the natural volumes, and you'll have plenty of headroom and the least amount of noise. And just in case there's a couple spots where he goes blap blap or digga 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 digga, you know, for a couple spots, you won't max out your headroom and cause distortion in the recording. I always check this. I sometimes do forget, but I always check the headroom on every recording before I go. I check the headroom here, I check the headroom there, and I don't have to worry about the headroom there because this equipment is very loud equipment. So you have the bassist play, you adjust the trim and set the levels, and repeat this for all the faders of the other instruments, especially if you're multi-track recording, because you can't go back if you're recording 10 things at once and get a re-recording. You play these at once. Set up the mix with the faders. Set up group faders if you can, if you're bouncing them together like 7 parts of a drum set to a bounce, and make sure those are at 0 and bring them up and so that nothing's clipping. Sometimes you want clipping, like a bass and a bass beat or something like that. You might want it, so don't always follow these rules like they're hard rules, but use them as advisement to keep a cleaner sound when needed. Behavior of sound in rooms. Echo. Echo is sound bouncing off a wall and coming back in to your source. If I were to speak right here, you hear lots more echo of the room. If I were to speak right here, there's much less room echo, and it's just my direct voice, and because it's at a lower controlled volume and I'm close to the source, you do not receive as much echo back. But when I get over, when I get over here, you'll hear a lot more of the room. And the echo of the room will have echo on it, so the echo will grow tremendously. And here, the echo will be minimal, because it's only the added echo I use on the effect for my voice. So the sound travels directly to your ears. That's called direct sound. The rest strikes walls, ceilings, floors, furniture, you name it. Anything in your room. This little container here with pop in it. Everything's bouncing and causing certain level of echo in the room. A cleaner room covered in carpet is going to sound less echoey than inside of a cement room or a basement or a garage or a bathroom. Every type of material has a different type of echo. Your bathtub echoes in a different way than the cement in a parking garage, and those two react much differently than a carpeted closet with small, close together walls. Because every foot of distance you have creates a millisecond of delay. In a 3 foot by 10 foot room, you're only getting 10 to 3 milliseconds of delay in your reverbs, echoes, whatever you want to call them. So they are tight. But once you get a bigger and bigger room, up to 20 feet, you're talking many milliseconds of delay, audible delay, causing a dual effect and phase cancellation. Once something is delayed more than 50 milliseconds, I'd say 20, it becomes an echo. It's an audible added sound. You may do these things on purpose. These echoes to duplicate and dual the sound out. You may have the echo on the right side only. You may have the echo be 100 milliseconds, 150 milliseconds out to create a kind of fluttering sound. Reverberation. This is kind of like echo, but it's more quick. And it comes, and echo would be like this. You have one surface, a microphone right here, and that surface is 100 feet, 200 feet away. And you're singing in the room. That's the echo. Reverberation may be more like this. Can you hear how the sound remains after I finish singing? That would be the reverb, because it's the reflections from all these different things all teaming up at once and creating so many multitudes of echo that you can't distinguish them from each other. And they blend, and they call that reverb. But singular or repeated echoes are a little bit different. But the echoes are the basis for reverb, delay, and echo. The echoes are at work there. Delay, you can set how many repetitions. Echo is more of usually a single or a couple repetitions. that is often called feedback. All right. Think of it like this. Echo is hello, hello, hello. And reverb is hello. Kind of a sound. Leakage. Leakage is the biggest problem with leakage is on a drum kit. The reason why is because they are very percussive in their attack, and when you hit a snare, or you might make your hi-hats sizzle, and when you hit a kick, you might make your snares excite, and they would sizzle. That leakage is called bleed or spill sometimes. And to minimize that, you want to set distances between the reverberation of the instrument. Like miking a drum set, this might be important. Or you might want to get really close locations of your microphones so that the leakage is minimal, kind of like in a noise, the signal to noise ratio. You don't hear the leakage as much, and so with everything going, it becomes hidden. Like the distorted guitars will hide that snare sound when you hit the kick pretty well. Woo! Say hi. Hello, everyone. What? Use your regular voice.
Said she was flying like that.
Let's see if you can see yourself here. There you go. Wave hello. Nope, don't flip that. That would be not cool. Nope, don't play with that. Hey Bart, what's going on? The background music sounds familiar, huh? This one is your October Orange track. Glad you caught the blog. We're simulcasting this blog on Facebook.com/Christopher Burns, YouTube.com/Idiot Burns. Go ahead and subscribe over there, Bart, if you haven't already. And BandLab.com/Idiot Blog. You want one of these? You guys ever had one of these? Oh. Wham. Hi Chew. Grape glucose candies. They're somewhere like a Starburst, but with less sweet. That one could be yours. Candy, like a Starburst. Ah. Eat it. Like this. Yep. You want one? Mom wanted one. I had a feeling she'd want one. Or more. Well, that was a cool little solo part there. Nice harmonies going on here. Yummy. The kind of leakage you don't want would be while playing the piano, you got drum kit sounds coming through. That would not help your sound. Hey, wait, did we hit the last track? Was that it? Was that the last one? What? I think so.
Yeah. Nope. Zoe!
We'll find out. Yep, that was the last
Zoe.
one. So let's start over again. There we go.
Daddy!
Let's just do it all over again. Why not?
Daddy, look!
What?
What was it? Zoe?
Yeah. Raphael. Yeah. And say hi, Bart. Say hi, Bart.
I can't.
And
Only Joey.
only Joey. Well, that's nice. They're good, huh? Tastes like grape.
See?
Mm-hmm. We'll hang out with Mom. Love you. Let's see what else we got to talk about before this keeps going. Ways to control and tame unwanted echoes and reverb. And leakage. Mic close. Place each mic 1 to 6 inches from the instruments. Use directional mics. Like a cardioid dynamic, or a supercardioid, or a hypercardioid, which reject the sounds behind them and amplify the sounds directly in front of them. What? You want to listen? Okay, you can listen.
Don't forget up. We need to get up.
Oh, you can just sit here.
Let me say thank you or so, okay?
Okay.
Tinkle, tinkle, don't do that. Tinkle, tinkle. Tinkle, tinkle, how I want you.
How many versions of that are we going to do? Bunch? Each time a different version, right?
Yes.
Yep. Each show a different version.
Woof. Daddy, look at me. Woof.
Woof! Another way to lower leakage would be to record bass guitar direct in, or things like synthesizers direct in, so that they're not amplifying out into the room where you're recording other instruments. Do things like overdub, record them at a different time so that they're not being played at the same time. You'll pick up clearer sound, but you may have less emotional interaction occurring between the musicians and a less tight sound. It may take more overdubs, more recordings, more takes to get it to sound as live. But sometimes it's just exactly what you need. Sometimes the key to that is recording a demonstration or demo of the track.
Hi, Woof.
Hi, Raph.
Hi, Woof.
This track is M-A-R-C-H, like his track A-P-R-I-L. Hope you'll enjoy this one. You gonna go now? Take the headphones. So overdubbing may sacrifice some of the tightness of the band, but one way to get around that would be first record the band playing the song together, and with all the leakage and spill or whatever you want to call that happening, don't worry about it. Get a good tight recording, then have the drummer play a take that's perfect in an overdub form. Have the guitarists do that, each one individually, or just the one that maybe the only be one, and he does the overdub that he wants to add for the rhythm and the solo spot or whatever. And then have the bassist go do his part, and you get each one of those parts overdubbed over the demonstration of the play played version of the track so that all the tightness is kept, all of the juices are kept, the key changes and time signature changes and tempo changes maintain their original band chemistry. And then another one is record in a large room and put everybody as far away as possible, each one in a different corner. And they record, and the leakage is so small at the right volumes, and everyone's listening in on monitors to hear the mixed down sound, and they're playing. And all that happens at such a fast speed, as long as there's not delay or latency from a computer, like at least you're using tape or something and direct audio devices, then you'll be able to capture that room sound even. Controlling room problems, you can also do things like clap your hands next to certain walls and listen for that echo, and do things like try to minimize the amount of echo and delays and reverbs in your room by adding treatments. Here would be something you could use to add treatments. Simply shaped foam like this. It might come in the packages you buy. It might be something you buy in bulk online, and a roll of it or whatever, and you put it on your wall. You can use thumbtacks in the low spots. You just can put it up very simple ways. Staples, lots of ways to put it up, and they'll stay up for quite a long time. And it's removable and changeable. Yep, those are all different ways you can do it. We'll go into this real quick here. There we go. I think that's a good level of topics we could talk about today. Okay, here's the thing. There's a thing called standing waves, which is where you have waves that just keep going, sounds that just keep going, resonance that just gets really high, and high pitch feedback gets really bad. That room resonance is worst in cubicle rooms, and it's less of a problem if the room's lengths and widths and heights are not multiples of each other. So in an 8-foot room, a 9-foot by 11 room, a 9.4 by 11.8 room, all these things, you'd want to reduce the booming sound of standing waves. Okay, and this is something I've talked about many times, but I'm going to repeat it here. Make your studio quieter. Do things like turn off all the appliances and telephones. Pause for ambulances, airplanes, and other outside noises, like the guy with the stereo goes. Pause. Take a break when you hear those. Close your windows. Consider covering your windows with plywood or sheets. Close doors. Seal the bottom of them with towels, like you're in there smoking weed and you don't want anyone to know. Remove small objects that can rattle or buzz. Weather strip around windows. Replace hollow doors with solid doors. Block openings in the rooms with thick plywood or caulking. Put several layers of plywood or carpet above the studio and insulate the air the space between the ceiling and the floor. Place microphones close to the instruments and use directional migrophones. These are ways to make quieter studios. I think we finished a good chunk of what it means and takes to get a good sound. Get a good sound while recording. I think this guy Bart knows what's up. If you're asking how I'm doing, Mexcal, I'm doing good. Having a nice evening today. Thinking about a little bit about what I'm going to do on Bart's track.
I wished for this to be over. Still stuck inside.
Who's singing on this?
I see light on the horizon. Time to revive.
It's a hit with EDM. I usually don't do a lot of pop. This was a nice challenge. Also, it's the second song with vocals. Okay. So you got an accent, Bart. Yeah, are you German? Netherlands? Maybe it sounds like Netherlands. Is it Netherlands? I gotta go look over here. It will tell me when I look here. Let me just make this bigger and I'll find out. Right here. Yep, Netherlands. Couldn't see that from here. Today was a nice day. Relaxed, watched some movies. Didn't make any music today. Played my drums a few times. Didn't write any music. Didn't play any instrumental instruments. I played the percussive. I sang to some stuff, listening to my own music. I barbecued some marinated chicken. I'm still in the middle of a movie right now. End of a movie, but this is what should have won. This should have been the backing track. This is from November Nation. Hell yeah. Nice. I would love to play drums on this one. I said, I want to play drums on this. My take, please. Maybe he'll let me. Left a comment. All you can do is ask. If a track isn't forkable, ask. Be a little bit more intricate, but keep the style going. Well, guys, had a nice show. Talked about some cool stuff. Went a solid 54 minutes. I hope everybody had a good time tonight. Enjoyed themselves, enjoyed the talk. Maybe I should talk about string theory on one of these, since I guess Ron the Swan Song likes hearing about string theories. That'll be cool. Could talk about a whole bunch of physics stuff with you guys. That's one of my favorite subjects. Physics and biochemistry are some of my favorite things. Maybe I shouldn't have gone to work at Boeing. Maybe I should have kept it going and got a degree in biomedical. Who knows? Whatever. I enjoy what I do. It's very George Lynch. Nice. Testing the mic. Was it SM75 or is it SM57? Bet you it's an SM57. Let me check and see if that's a real thing. SM75. I don't know. I don't know about it. I don't think it is. Bart mentioned me in a comment. So I said this. Could you make another version of it that doesn't have the drums and then send that to me out of Cubase and then invite me, and then if I get to it and get something good, you'll be able to hear it. And if not, I will just sit there and I won't do anything with it. I'm not gonna steal your music. I figured it was just a typo. But I still wanted to go look and double check if there was an SM75 that I didn't know about. SM91, is that I think is a pickup or a guitar, I mean. SM91. Yeah. The Beta 91 or the SM91 is something I have wanted for my drum kit for so long. It's like a $250 microphone that goes in your kick that you use with your Beta 52. Some call it the SM91, some call it the Beta 91A. But either one of them are amazing. The reason why they're good is they add that high end to your kick sound, that click, that attack, that the Beta 52 kind of leaves out in its frequency response. Because it has such a good deep frequency response, it shies away with the high end frequency response. You add an SM52 or a Beta 52 to a Beta or SM91 or Beta 91A, and you get a kind of a nice full sound to your kick drum for an acoustic drum. Yeah. Quite an important thing to have, and it's the only thing I'm missing in my microphones for my drums. Hell, and my microphones for my drums are the most important microphones of all. Obviously, I do use these guitar mics a shit ton, and this right here a shit ton, but, yeah, they're the most important instrument mics I have. They're the most expensive, and they're a large set. what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 right now microphones, and there needs to be 8 microphones right now, and there needs to be 9 microphones, or 8 with a no bottom snare mic. God forbid I leave that out. And I just get that bottom snare sound from the overheads and the natural room sound. But I would do that. I would do that in a second to get that click from that kick drum in there. Much needed in metal. Not so important in rock and hip hop and R&B. But when you play heavy metal, you want that click in your drum, and it's hard to get it without overmixing your cymbals from the overheads. Well, alright guys, I had a great time listening to Bart's music. I mean, a grand time here. Good stuff. As this next track comes on, we'll do a nice little fade away here. Catch you guys all on the flip side. Another blog, another day. Another day, another death, another dollar, another breath. You know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. Go find that Bart track. Rock of March. What is it called? Rock of what? What is it called again? Boom. What's it called? Go find that track. Yeah, Rock Off March. Hey, the image just says Rock of March instead of Rock Off March. Or is that a typo too? Either way, Rock of or Rock Off March. Go check it out. This guy's living 1 month ahead of us all. He's already in March. Well, like I said, catch you guys on the flip side. Laters.